Hometown Discoveries Las Vegas is a local weekend morning show featuring the people, events, and companies that make Las Vegas the place to live, shop, work, and play. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. We're here at the City of Las Vegas Central Fire Station, and I was so excited when I found out the fire department wanted to host our show. Of course, since we've been here, I'm amazed at the number of trucks that have gone out. So this actually is kind of going to be a little bit of a serious show. We'll be meeting some people here today at the fire station. But before we do that, let me share with you some of the other guests we'll have on the show today. In this episode, Richard Hanseen talks bulls versus bears. Linda Ward saves us money on our home mortgage. Our local pharmacist cools a nasty burn. Public Education and Information Officer Tim Szymanski will give us a tour of the fire station and demonstrate the best fire extinguishers for our home.
I'm really excited about this because I've seen this in action. It's a new fire extinguisher in an aerosol can. It uses a new extinguishing agent.
Let's go meet Tim. We're here today with Tim Szymanski, Public Information and Education Officer for Las Vegas Fire and Rescue. Tim, thank you so much for having us here. I really appreciate this.
Thank you for having me.
I have to tell you, when you told me that you would host our show here, I was like a 6-year-old. My heart was racing. I was just so excited. And then, of course, I get here and I'm ready to tell that in introducing the show. And 2 trucks get called out. And of course, then it makes me realize you're in a really serious business.
You know, our business is the only business where people call us and they say something bad is happening. It's getting worse by the second, and we need you to come and make it go away. It could be a person dying, or they could be hurt, or maybe their building is on fire and it's getting bigger and bigger. And when everybody else is running away, we're the people that run in, and we have to make it stop and go away.
Thank goodness for you. Thank goodness that you're here to do that. Before we get into some of the specifics of what you do here, I'd like to get to know you a little bit better. How long have you been in Las Vegas?
Been here 17 years now. Originally started in Cleveland 42 years ago, worked there for 10 years. Moved to Atlanta and got a job there. Was the fire PIO for Atlanta Fire during the '96 Olympics, and that's when some people from Las Vegas heard me talk. And just before the Olympics, they says, how would you like to come in Las Vegas and work for us? I told them, they wanted me to leave right away, and I told them I wanted to see the Olympics. I worked 5 years to put that together. Mm-hmm. So on the day after the closing ceremony, and my wife and my 2 sons, we moved to Las Vegas, and we've been here ever since.
That's great. I was in Atlanta when they learned they were going to when they won the bid to get the Olympics there. It was a crazy time. So I'm sure the Olympics were great.
It was the best school I ever attended. You couldn't pay to go to a school. The opportunity to meet people from all over the world. I met fire chiefs from all over the world and journal people and things like that. You couldn't pay to get the education that I got in those 5 years prior to the Olympics. And then we got to attend the Olympics. That was the finale. My wife and my family and my sons, we were part of it. We were actually in the park the night before the bombing is when we decided to visit the park. Mm-hmm. And then we left, and then unfortunately they had that incident the next night. But it was one of the greatest things in my life to be a part of the Olympics. Oh,
that's great. Well, I'm glad they found you and brought you to Las Vegas. Tell us about your job here.
Well, they hired me because I'm the Public Information and Education Officer. I originally started off as a firefighter, paramedic, and worked my way all the way up to fire chief. So and that included being an arson investigator and everything. So I got to learn all the different areas. And back in the 80s, they asked me if I would handle the news people on our department, and they says nobody ever done that. So I was like one of the first in the country, and it became a specialty. And I actually now teach other fire department PIOs from all over the United States. They come here once a year, and I teach them to do it. I think my job is the most exciting job on the fire department. So that's my primary job. And then I also teach the community how to be safe. If I am out there at every fire, I go to every fatal fire there is, you see what happens. I want to teach the community how to prevent that from happening, because we wouldn't
Right.
need a fire department if we didn't have fires, because 99% of the fires that occur in the community today were preventable. We could have
Wow.
prevented them from happening.
What percentage?
About 99%.
Wow.
You're always going to have some fires because of lightning and natural things, and that, but most of the fires that we go to every day were fully preventable. And then when we tell people what they did wrong, the answer is usually, I didn't know that.
And so you do these training classes in schools. Do you also do them at the fire station? Do you have public open houses? Or?
We're going to have, our next open house is October the 13th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at all city fire stations. All of our crews were taught. I taught them what they should say to the public. So when our crews go out, we have a lot of fire trucks that go to the schools, and you'll see them at grand openings and stuff like that. They have instruction sheets, they have DVDs, they have all kinds of things that I put in the stations. So I have 500 other people that can help me teach, because everybody wants to see the fire truck.
Yeah.
But I usually take the more serious classes where people have to have it because of their jobs, like doctors and nurses, and certain businesses are required by law to have a certain type of course. So I teach those, and then I design the courses and make sure that that material gets out to the fire stations, that the firefighters can get out and spread the word for me. So we have about 550 people out there delivering the message for me to help make the community safe also.
That's great. Well, a little later in the program, we're going to come back and talk with you about a couple of things. We want to learn about the most common causes for fires, and we also want to know, how to safely escape a fire if that's possible.
Sure.
I look forward to seeing you later in the program.
Okay, thank you.
The Assistance League Las Vegas does their part to help children and families when disaster strikes.
And then there's the Bear program that provides stuffed teddy bears to traumatized children through local agencies, including hospitals, domestic violence centers, and the police and fire departments. These bears are an incredible tool to give comfort and to help children communicate. Our Layette program provides newborn clothing to the University Medical Center's Baby Steps program for low-income expectant parents, and even the Rosewarren Reading program. Here, members volunteer by assisting students in improving reading skills at a local elementary school. Finally, the Assistance League provides the Kids on the Block, a special troupe of puppeteers who perform educational skits for third graders. Each skit addresses issues from a child's perspective. They perform many skits varying in subjects, from home issues like dealing with divorce to peer issues such as bullying. To provide opportunities for a greater volunteer base, the Desert Sage Auxiliary was formed. Members of this auxiliary meet in the evening, allowing those who work to take part in the activities of our volunteer organization. For teenagers, Assist Teens is the junior auxiliary of Assistance League Las Vegas. In this group, boys and girls in grades 7 through 12 learn the value of volunteerism and leadership through community service. How are all of these programs funded? One of the key initiatives is the Assistance League Thrift Shop. The Thrift Shop sells reasonably priced, gently used merchandise and is staffed completely by our volunteers. All the revenue generated supports our local chapter facility and the various programs you just heard about. As you can see, the Assistance League is a diverse organization with widespread community impact. This all-volunteer group is completely self-funded through grants, fundraising events, contributions from the community, and our thrift shop sales. You can be assured that every contribution goes directly to a child who needs and deserves it.
If you'd like to learn more about Assistance League Las Vegas or donate a bear for this special cause, check out their website, allv.org. We asked Richard Hanseen with Strategic Wealth Advisors, which is better, a bull market or a bear market? Here's his answer.
Clients come in oftentimes and they look at my book markers here, my book ends, and they say, tell me about the bulls and the bears. Is the bull market better or the bear market better? My comments are always the same. You make money in both. And really that's why you use professional money managers, is because they can look at trends in sectors and particular securities And they may short your favorite stock because that means they've sold it, expecting to buy it back later at a cheap price, and they may believe that in fact it's oversold or overpriced. So bull markets and bear markets are really running all the time against one another and together. And there are some serious money managers who make a lot of money shorting stocks, which is a bearish attitude in bull markets, which is the one that we've been seeing since we bottomed out in 2010. So that's the story in the bull and the bear markets. You can have it either way you want, depending on your attitude about the economy, markets, etc.
What's your favorite Las Vegas discovery? Follow us and tweet with us at Hometown D. You're invited to meet the cast and crew of Hometown Discoveries Las Vegas. Mark your calendar for Thursday, September 27th, 6 to 8 p.m. We look forward to seeing you at the historic 5th Street School. Next, our mortgage expert Linda Ward has answers to your questions.
Hi, I'm Linda Ward with Red Rock Mortgage. And I guess you're wondering, why do I have an LSU shirt on? I'm an LSU Tiger, and I'm proud of it. Anyway, let's get into the segment today. I've had several questions over the past, I don't know, as long as I've been doing loans, but I'd like to address some of the questions that are pertinent to current issues. One of the issues that especially realtors and clients have asked me, are there loans for the self-employed borrower now? As you know, we no longer have a stated income loan product anymore. But yes, we are experienced, I am experienced at dealing with tax returns for the self-employed borrower. We actually go through there, we calculate what your income is, and then we determine how much of a house you can afford. So do not let that stop you if you are a self-employed borrower and you think, oh my goodness, there is no way I'm going to be able to buy a house. That's not true. There are many ways for us to calculate your income to show that your business is profitable and that you are taking an income from your company so that you can purchase your home. This is another question that's raised quite a bit. Can I purchase a home without having my spouse on the loan? Well, there's several different facets to that. Number one, if you're going to have FHA financing, then yes, you can purchase the home without your spouse being on the loan. However, because Nevada is a community property state, we are required not only to pull your credit and look at your current outstanding monthly obligations, but also we will have to count your spouse's monthly obligations in your debt to income ratio. So sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. We can only use your income if you are the only person on the loan. So if your spouse does not have any monthly obligations, then clearly it's going to be to your benefit. Otherwise, you may not qualify if we have to count your spouse's debt, your debt, and only use your income. Now that's for the FHA loan. Now let's talk about a conventional financing. On a conventional financing, they do not require us to have your spouse on the loan or to include their monthly obligations. So that is an option. But your down payment is usually higher, and your credit score has to be higher as well to go with a conventional loan. So that is another option. Now if there's VA, VA requires that if you have a spouse, your spouse must be on the loan with you. But those are just some of the questions that have been asked recently, especially in this market. So I hope to be able to help you. Just give me a call at my office, Linda Ward, 320-9595.
Las Vegas has unique growing seasons. Here's a tip from Linda Ward, our master gardener.
Hi, I'm Linda Ward with your gardening tip for the week. Today we're going to talk about garlic. Now, have you ever purchased garlic and a couple months later you see those green things just coming right out of the garlic? Well, actually those are called garlic scapes. Doesn't harm the garlic at all. Actually, they're very, very tasty. You just snip those off and you chop them up. You can put them in scrambled eggs, you can fry them, stir fry, whatever. Anyway, that's one of the aspects of garlic. Perfectly good garlic is just like this. And then everybody asks, when is the best time to plant your garlic? Actually, the time to plant garlic is right now, September or October. Garlic is a bulb, and I have brought some garlic here to show you. This is an actual garlic bulb, and all of the little pieces with the garlic are called cloves. And you just pull these apart, just like this. And to plant the garlic, you can see that there's a little root at the end of this, and you plant the pointed tip up. So I have a little pot that I keep in my kitchen window, and I use an old popsicle stick that says garlic on it. And I take it and I will stick it right down in the dirt. Just plant it about 2 inches below, and the harvesting time for garlic is usually in the spring. And each one of these little cloves, you will get a new garlic bulb, which is this, next spring. Now you have to make sure that you water it, keep it moist, and take care of it just like you would any other vegetable. But just go ahead, and you're not going to see it. It's just going to be in the dirt until next spring, when you start to see those little leaves come up, and then you'll see one shoot come up, and that is your garlic scape. When should you harvest your garlic? Well, you're going to see the leaves come up, and when the leaf tips start to turn brown, that's when you will dig your garlic up in the ground, and you'll just let that dry. And this is dried garlic. You have to let all this paper around the garlic just dry out and use it. Enjoy it. Plant as many of these little cloves as you can handle in a pot, on your patio, in your garden. Enjoy your garlic. That's your tip for the week. Thank you.
We have so many more discoveries to share today and tomorrow. Sunday morning, you'll want to tune in as Joanne Lucia, owner of Interiors by Designers Studios, gives us some insight on different interior decorating styles.
Let me show you our next design element. We call it just Asian. We have some dragon gates that I think are quite stunning.
Those are awesome.
Aren't they fabulous?
They really are.
They have some age, about 120 to 150 years of age, which by Asian standards is nothing. By ours, it's quite something.
Up next, our local pharmacist with some cooling relief for painful burns.
Burns are a serious medical accident that can happen pretty much any time, so we want to be very informed about them. Burns are classified based on degree, and that is based on how much involvement of the skin. A first degree burn is where the first layer of skin, which is called the subdermis, and that is where a first degree burn. A second degree burn is in the dermis, which is your second layer of skin. And a third degree burn, which is the most serious burn, is the hypothermos, or what we commonly call the subcutaneous area. Burns are very painful because we have so many nerve endings and your skin is very sensitive to touch. And so burns are painful. Burns, when you have a burn, I believe that you should never try to treat a burn yourself. I think you always need professional medical help. Burns can cause a lot of scarring, disfiguring, so I think they always need professional medical evaluation, and I don't think you should ever try to attempt to treat any type of burn. I can give you some first aid tips. The first thing we want to do is we want to get that patient into a safe environment. We want to remove any burning material. We want to cover the patient with a clean sheet. You can go ahead and try to clean the burn with a lukewarm solution. And then, of course, you want to call immediately 911 because we don't want to try to treat this. On a first-degree burn, you can relieve the pain by maybe applying a cold pack to that area. And one of the myths about treating burns is the use of butter. You should never use butter on any type of burn. The best thing to use on a first-degree burn would be something like coconut oil. Coconut oil is very helpful in relieving that pain. So again, I want to stress to you that I don't think you should ever try to treat any type of burn. On a first-degree burn, you want to consult with your primary care physician. On a second and third-degree burn, you need to call 911 right away and get professional medical help. Again, I want to thank all of you for watching Hometown Discoveries. It's been a pleasure to give this information to you. And remember, your health is priceless.
The cot is motorized, and then we can lift heavy people on it now. And then we can push it in here, grabs on here, wheels fold up automatically, and you can just put the victim in. You can see that if you look inside the ambulance, ours is made a little bit different than most other departments. We put the victim in the middle of the ambulance instead of the side because you need to work all the way around the victim. We set everything up. Whenever our ambulances are in motion, everybody has to be seated with a seatbelt on. We don't allow our personnel to be standing up. So you heard about the accident that was on TV where it says that the paramedics were injured in a wreck. We anticipate that, so any place you see where there's a seat, we have a seat on the left, on the right, one at the top, you'll see there's seat belts everywhere. Everybody has to be strapped into the unit while the unit is in motion. One of the reasons you do stand up is to do CPR. We have automatic CPR boards. We were the first fire department in the country to have that, where the CPR boards automatically pump the person's chest, and we don't have to stand up and press down on the chest. The board is automatically doing it. This is the only station in Southern Nevada that has poles, and it's because this station was previously built before all the ADA requirements. And now if we were to build this building up to today's standards, we'd have to have an elevator in the building and everything because of the American Disabilities Act. So all of our stations are one-story buildings now. But this is the hallway, and the bunk rooms are on either side of the hallway. And when there's a call, the firefighter pulls down, he gets on the pole, and when they pull down, it opens up the doors. And that's to keep the cold air and the gases and everything from going up.
We're back here with Tim Szymanski. Tim, thank you so much for the tour.
Thanks again.
You were telling me that October 7th through the 13th is Fire Prevention Week, right?
It's always the week of October the 9th, whatever week October the 9th falls in, because that is that's the anniversary of the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, and President Woodrow Wilson in 1920 says, let's take this day aside and remember about fire safety every year, and we've been doing it ever since. It's the longest running public safety campaign in U.S. history. So this week, October the 7th through the 13th, will be Fire Prevention Week across the United States.
Wow. So in honor of that, in addition to today, we're going to re-air this portion of our interview October 7th and October 13th
Great.
for our audience to tell us about these fire extinguishers that are sitting in front of us. Or first of all, maybe tell us about the most common fires that happen here in Las Vegas.
Well, the number one reason for fires in Las Vegas and across the rest of the United States, and the number one reason why people are hurt by fire, both in the United States and Las Vegas, is cooking fires. We have cooking fires every single day, and that's just because people cook 3-4 times a day. Everybody's doing it, and it's just a common occurrence. Most of the time it's because people leave cooking food unattended. Cooking grease starts about 55% of those fires. When you're cooking, you're supposed to stand at the stove and cook, so if something happens, cooking grease, when it catches on fire, is worse than gasoline, and if it is allowed to burn for more than 15 seconds, it just bought your house. It becomes the new owner.
Wow. Well, I have firsthand knowledge of what water does in a grease fire. When I was in high school in a home ec class, a grease fire started, and one of the girls took a glass of water and threw it on the fire. We were so fortunate that nobody got burned, but it flashed up and mushroomed out through the whole ceiling, and it burnt that kitchen. I mean, all the girls got out of the way, but it did burn that kitchen.
It makes matters worse, actually.
Yeah, yeah. And so you have some fire extinguishers here to show us.
Well, you can put it out real quick. You still have to shut off the stove in every case, remove that heat. This is the most common fire extinguisher. It's what we call a dry powder fire extinguisher. It uses a powder that looks like baking soda, but it is not baking soda. The complications of this is very effective on a fire is you have to remove the pin. You have to you treat it like a gun. You shoot it towards the object that is on fire, but what people forget to do is to remove this pin, which is a safety on it, and then you spray it on there. It's kind of messy to clean up. What has come out in the last 2 years, and I'm really excited about this because I've seen this in action, is a new fire extinguisher in an aerosol can. It uses a new extinguishing agent, which is like a wet foam. There is about 3 of these fire extinguishers in one can.
Oh,
it
wow.
reaches farther. It's biodegradable, which means when everything is over with, you clean it up with a sponge and water. I've actually had residents here tell me that after they've used it on a fire, they use the same pan and finish having dinner in their kitchen that same night. All you have to do is just take the cap off, point and shoot. I tell people if you can use hairspray or use spray paint, you can put out a fire.
Thank you so much, Tim. We've learned so much today. I really appreciate you inviting us here, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Tomorrow on Hometown Discoveries Las Vegas, Richard Hanseen with advice that gives his clients peace of mind. Joanne Lucia takes us on a shopping spree. You'll find it all at Interiors by Designer Studio. Thank you for joining us. This has been a very informative day here at Las Vegas Fire and Rescue. We'll be back tomorrow with Tim Szymanski, who will give us a tour of our city's world-class 911 center. Have a great weekend. We'll be right here on KTUD Vegas TV every weekend morning, and we are so excited to share our hometown discoveries with you. Join us for the best ideas on living, learning, working, and playing in Las Vegas.